For more perspective, let's bring in Chris Swonger, President and CEO of the U.S. Distilled Spirits Council. Chris, great to see you. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time. What are your thoughts on all this back and forth on tariffs? How is this affecting your industry specifically?
Well, first and foremost, let's just recognize, obviously, our industry appreciates and understands that the president is trying to bring more American manufacturing here in the United States and reduce the trade deficit. Our industry is unique because we're really the model for fair and reciprocal trade. In 1997, the U.S. and the EU agreed to zero-for-zero tariffs for distilled spirits. And since that time, we've enjoyed 450% growth. With that, back in the first Trump presidency, as the president is trying to bring more steel and aluminum manufacturing back to the United States for national security purposes, it was unfortunate that the EU imposed a 25% tariff on American whiskey at the time. And as a result of that, we saw a 20% decline in American whiskey exports. Those tariffs were suspended about a year and a half ago, and then we've just gotten the news early this morning that the EU is poised to put a 50% tariff on American whiskey. That will be very, very devastating.
Well, Chris, we are seeing some of these American-made liquors pulled from shelves in Canada. What is your response to that?
It's really unfortunate. Our industry should not be involved in these trade disputes whatsoever because in Canada and Mexico, the U.S., we have zero-for-zero tariffs. Unfortunately, just the iconic nature of distilled spirits products, somehow we get embroiled in this, and it's truly unfortunate. It has an impact on our agriculture partners. It all starts from grain to glass. And then, of course, the distillers. One American success story I'd like to talk about real quick is 20 plus years ago, there were only 50 plus distilleries in the United States. Today, there's over 3,100. Many of them are small mom and pop distilleries that popped up in communities all around the country. Those great distilleries want to be able to export to great markets. And the industry here in the U.S., with many of our trading partners, have thrived as a result of that. So we're working together as one, whether it's the Canadian whiskey industry and the American whiskey industry, or the Scotch, Irish whiskey, or cognac. We're all working together trying to convince the EU, Canada, our friends in Mexico as well, with the United States to untangle the distilled spirits industry from some of these challenging times.
And Chris, you mentioned the impact there on distillers, on farmers. Are you satisfied with President Trump's messaging that, hey, this may cause some temporary pain, but it will all ultimately make America richer?
Yeah, look, we recognize he's leaning in hard to try to get an important tax package passed by Congress and so forth. In our industry, his position on fair and reciprocal is terrific. I mean, I'll give you an example. India is the world's largest whiskey market, but they've had a 150% tariff on American whiskey and all whiskeys for that matter for many, many, many years. So a couple of weeks ago when President Modi came into town, we were grateful that President Modi reduced the tariff on bourbon from 150% to 100%. Well, we ultimately, in subscribing to the president's leadership on fair and reciprocal, we want to make sure that tariff in India is taken back to zero, because that would give American distillers an opportunity to really compete for share of mind and taste in India. But in the meantime, our industry is being hit pretty hard, and we're going to have to muscle through it. And we're working closely with the Trump administration and with the EU and in Canada to try to untangle this industry, because it's a lose-lose proposition for the greater hospitality industry with all of our trading partners where we have zero-for-zero tariffs, and the hospitality economy has thrived as a result.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.